in the United States after 3.5 long weeks. So it's my first full day here in Dallas. It's good to be back.
Welcome. So the questions I had written out for today were, how do you prospect out of state when
Okay.
you don't live there?
Hmm.
No, I can sneak away for a week or whatever if needed. And that's the main one. I think the other questions will truncate from that, but I know you're in 3 markets and obviously you don't live in 3, so that would be the question. The second one is, um, so our goal that we set, we just did a 3-day class on vision boarding and goal setting, and I believe with a lot of effort, I think I can do 7 yeses in a year, maybe 18 months, where we get 5 units each
Okay.
and then hit 35 units. So we already have a theme picked out for the units, a target demographic. They work well in multifamily at like a middle price point. I want to be on sort of the higher end to kind of screen out some of the trash guests that as exist right now.
Hmm.
But that, I think that's the thing to start on, is how do you prospect out of area? Oh,
Certainly.
and before that, I
Yeah.
used your thing where instead of meeting the landlord at the house, I invited her to coffee, and it was really good. She unfortunately wasn't the perfect prospect because she'd already done Airbnb on that unit and had a bad experience. But as far as setting up the dynamic of like, here's this professional meeting me, it definitely gave me a lot more stature, I felt, than being a tenant applying, if that makes sense, at the unit. So that
Yeah.
was good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that theme you're going to carry forward in all like negotiations. You always want to be different. See,
Yeah.
um, because they deal with volume. Landlords, apartment complexes, they deal with volume. And if everything is normal, just kind of as they always do, you're not special. And it really takes away your ability to ask for special things, right? You need that
Yeah.
relationship to start differently. So that way they are open-minded the entire process and they're expecting, more or different from you. So I think that's one of the most important, like one of the most important little factors that you've tripped over, which is really good. So prospecting out of state isn't terribly difficult. And right now, because of post-COVID, we actually have a really cool opportunity post-COVID to like do a little bit of different prospecting than normal. So if you're looking for properties that you can Airbnb out of state, you first decide if you're going to go with single family homes or apartment complexes. But with single family
Apartments.
homes, to
Yeah.
start, just to keep this easy,
Okay.
you can get on any normal marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, anywhere. Look for homes that are for rent, but have been listed for like more than 45 days, more than
Okay.
60 days. The longer that something's been on the market listed for single family homeowners, the more that they're feeling the pressure of their mortgages to get those paid, and they're much more likely to negotiate. And then, of course, you're going to
Okay.
cold call. We're going to talk about the cold call in a second. Then for those apartment complexes, I just look for ones that are in the like locations that I like, and then I'll cold call. And so the cold call will sound pretty similar for both. The third thing you can do now, aside from just searching on maps for apartment complexes, is you can type in. You could do a batch of these where there's like, hey, I'm going to be in, Tennessee, or I'm going to be in Nashville Wednesday through Saturday to look at properties. Can I plan a time to meet with you then? And I really do think you should do these all in person. So I will say opt to travel and just talk
Yeah.
to like 20 landlords and try to book them in blocks. And so that way you can go home to home and pitch them, over the course of 2 or 3 days. That's what I would do. Lay the groundwork by phone. If you absolutely had to do it remotely, you'd want to make a pitch deck. So the pitch deck would be like basically 10 or so pages, talks about your business model, really makes short-term rentals sound good, just like the script and closers crash course. You want everything to sound good and have like a journey. So every page of the pitch deck needs to progress somebody further into the understanding while also kind of toppling over objections of what about security and stuff like that. Um,
Okay.
I have a pitch deck. It should be in the course, and if it's not in the course, Alberto will put it in the course. It's I
I
don't
haven't seen it.
yeah, I don't think I put it in Closers Crash Course. I was gonna save it for like I'm gonna be doing a much larger course one day that's like 10,000 plus, called $1 Million Renter, only for people who like make already $1 million or more. And I was gonna go over pitch decks in that, but I do think that pitch deck is something that you guys can still create on your own. So I'll give you a copy of mine to emulate it, and I'll also give you guys a copy of like Domio or Saunders, because I think I have a copy of theirs too. So you can actually see like what pitch decks look like. So the purpose of a pitch deck then, like, hey, I'd love to come out and see the property. I'm sorry that I'm too far away to come and see you on short note, just within a couple of days. So can I send you some material on our company so you can get to understand more of what we're looking to do in Nashville? And if everything looks good, we can plan time for me to come out and see you then. So what you've done with the pitch deck is you've gotten them more understanding of your business model before you book the meeting with them, so you don't waste time, right? If you've got to travel to a city, then pre-screening your leads a little bit might be worth your time. I still like pitching it in person without a pitch deck, but if you're concerned about wasting a bunch of time because your closing percentage is low, then sending a pitch deck first and then getting permission to set up a meeting afterwards will let you know that landlord is more willing and in the ballpark, because they should already know you do short-term furnished rentals to some degree in that pitch deck. So that's how single family works. And single family is way more difficult than apartment complexes, in my opinion, because single family homeowners have random objections. They have random problems.
They do. They're all different. There's a comment. So as far as the multifamily goes, do you necessarily need appointments with the multifamily, or are the managers there all the time?
You don't need appointments typically, but it's etiquette to let them know you're coming, because leasing agents get commission. And so the person you call will want to tour you so they can get the money for it. You want to create an internal champion is kind of, in any organizational sale, you want an internal champion. So when you call apartment complex, go, hi, my name's Joe. I own a corporate housing company, looking to pick up a few leases for a year or longer. Your building looks great. I'd like to know, do you already work with corporate housing companies? Have worked with corporate housing companies? Is that something you guys can do? And you're just looking for a yes or no. You don't want to give them really much information on the phone at all. You're just screening which buildings already have leasing to businesses as part of their predisposition. You can still get the ones that tell you no, but you have to go to the owner for those ones, because the property management company doesn't think it's possible. So you should start top down on those apartment complexes, and that's more arduous and less duplicatable. But for ones that say, yeah, we do corporate housing, yeah, we can rent to LLCs or businesses, at that point, then you would go say, yeah, cool, I'll come in tomorrow and take a look. Or I'm going to be flying into town over the weekend. I'll come by this day if that works. And then that will be how you of course pre-close them to come and do the walkthrough. So if you're prospecting out of state, really what you're doing is you're creating a whole block of time where you've got dozens of landlords and apartment complexes that you're going to go walk through, and it's like pitch week. You're basically going in and you're like negotiating 40, 50 hours of walkthroughs to kind of grind through the area.
Fun, actually. I like pitching, so.
Good. Yeah. And I like getting into the zone. And like when I'm after 2 or 3, 4, I feel warmed up, and I think presentations become more natural and they get better the more time you're like immersed in them.
The more you do them, right?
Yeah. And as a sidebar, guys, for all of you listening, and for those of you who haven't like seen all the Closers Crash Course stuff yet, the script for talking to buildings, landlords, or apartment complexes, it's imperative that it sounds like you. It sounds natural. It's like you're saying this stuff because you believe it. They're fresh words out of your brain, not off of the script. So you learn everything in the Closers Crash Course script in order to internalize it, digest it, and then recreate it in your own way, right? It can be 98% similar, but you're still going to use different filler words. You're going to have different pacing. You're going to tell different stories about yourself. You're not going to tell stories about me in your walkthrough, for example. So all this stuff will become unique. And so by pitching frequently, it becomes natural. It becomes like wallpaper. And that way you can focus on the rest of it, aside from just the words. So that's why I do also recommend single family homeowners, because you pitch a single family homeowner who has 2 properties, you get the deal, cool. You don't get the deal, cool, next like landlord. But if you go and pitch the most prestigious high rise in the city, your first time, and you're all nerves and it doesn't go well, then you're going to feel like you didn't practice your script and you didn't do a good job, and you lost like what could have been the coolest deal ever. And you would have wished that you had practiced on single family homeowners before you went and knocked down the luxury high rise. You gotta work your way up.